A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for sticking to Y254 TV. My name is Cheryl Blessing, and you are watching the Power Talk Show. Now, this evening, I want us to discuss something that has been affecting most youths and something that is a very interesting conversation, especially right now. We want to know, what is the value of self-employment? Is it a viable option? And can it be something that we can consider moving forward, given the times, the economic times, and the state of traditional employment in Kenya? Now, joining me this evening, I have Yvonne Kagondu, who is the co-founder of Kushite ICP East Africa. Karibu sana, Yvonne.
Thank you.
You look lovely this evening.
You too.
Thank you. And right next to Yvonne, we have Patrick Mutua, who is an entrepreneur himself, and he is a spiritual guide as well. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you both in studio this evening. And I want us to understand this topic because most people have been complaining that we have no jobs, there are no forms of opportunities that people can express their art and actually implement the things that they studied in school. So what is the value of self-employment? I want you to engage with me as we proceed with this conversation, and you can do that by going to our social media platforms, which is at Y254. Go there, we've made a post, and you can ask us any questions that you have. If you have an opinion that you would like to share with us, write that and we will sample that as we proceed with the show. You can also find me on my personal pages, which is at Cheryl Blessing, and I hope you enjoy this conversation this evening. Now, to kick us off, I want us to understand what is the difference between self-employment and traditional employment. Patrick, how would you define self-employment?
Oh, thank you so much for the chance to speak, and I'm honored to be here. Now, self-employment is like freedom. Okay. And the conventional way of working, going to work 8 or 9 to 5 p.m. job is like the old school thing that is being implemented over and over again. Nowadays, everyone is thinking about how can I get out of this 9 to 5 job and how can I endorse my ideas so that I be the boss and people are working for me. And that is where now the self-employment comes. Now, self-employment is total freedom over humanity. You be free, set up your business as youth, and enjoy the fruits of your own ideas.
I like that. The freedom and enjoying the fruits of your own ideas.
Yes.
So you are the one who controls everything in your business if you are self-employed.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. Yvonne, I've seen that you're the co-founder of your company. How did you get to getting this idea and discovering that you want to actually start a company and run it as a co-founder? How did you get to that?
Well, first I worked for a significant amount of time. I've been in the blockchain industry, cryptocurrency industry for about 5 years now. And it got to a place where our industry, the tech industry in general, it's mostly consisting of youth. People are from 20 to 25, 26. And once you've been there for a significant amount of time, it's time to come out and mentor others. So I believe at first you usually work under employment for a period of time, learn your skills, get your connections, and then you can form a company on your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went through the process of you were employed,
Yeah.
and you got to a point and you decided, no, I want to be the mentor. I want to be the one who's in charge of all the operations of the company.
Well, not necessarily. It's more of growth. You know,
Yeah.
Caroline Mutuku once said that every 5 years, there's a set of, there's a generation, a whole generation of people who have graduated from schools, who can do your job faster, who can do your job more efficiently. So in this age where things are moving so fast, there's a lot of information, communication happens so fast. After a period of time, you have to grow. It's self-employment at a certain point. You have to be the one creating jobs. You can't just stay there for the, especially for our generation, you can't stay as an employee, especially if you're in the tech space. You have to get to a point and step out and find jobs for other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's part of the growth journey of you as a career individual, as a professional in your field.
Exactly.
Patrick, I'm
Yes.
aware that you also shared some similar experience. You were employed and then you decided you want to opt out. What got you to that decision where you decided I want to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, actually, I've been in the industry for the last 6 or 5 years, and I have come to realize as a youth, in your age between 18 to 35, or actually between 18 and 29, you can try everything. Doesn't matter it fails or it passes the, doesn't matter. Try, go and start any business. Doesn't matter what people say about you. What matters is, are you trying it? If it's about a simple business like getting a trolley out there and cooking eggs for people, you are serving people. I came to realize only one. You can have 100 ideas. Only one can get you from point A to point B. So you keep trying. Doesn't matter you fail or not. When you fail, you learn. Okay. When you learn, you correct. Then you try again. When you fail again, you try again and again. You have consistent way of experiencing life and knowing this business has 1, 2, 3 problems so that it can run smoothly. Now, out of the trying, God blesses people's ideas. And that is why you are comfortable working for someone and the business is running, you are wondering, how is it even running? It's because God blesses people's ideas. You are employed. It is said logically, if you can't run your ideas, then people will hire you to run their ideas. So I started my ideas 5 years ago. It was first a side hustle. So I never thought one day I would be sitting around and say, I'm a full entrepreneur. I thought it's a side hustle like any other. So I was never serious. Then my first business was, I started one business in 2018. It was a cyber cafe. If I told you I started with just 28,000, you cannot believe it.
Because people expect you to have hundreds of thousands to start a business.
No. Let me flash back to 2015. Actually, that was my very start of business. I started selling eggs 2015 after school. And you know, after school, you go and ask for a job and they say, bring 5 years experience, man. I don't even have one. Even one, I don't have. You're asking for 5. So what can I do before I even get this 5 experience? I try business. So I started selling eggs and there was a problem. The problem that I learned is, I was selling 7 crates, 7 to 10. Because I had several companies that I knew I would supply eggs every day at this time and this time. So I could sell about 7, that's about profit of about 300 times 7, that's about 2,100 per day. It looks like an easy job, but it's busy. It's just a lot of money at the top. I don't know, the price of egg today is higher. But at the moment we were making about 2,000 per day. Yeah. For a month, that's about 60. And that is profit. I'm not talking about gross. Eggs have so much money that you can't believe these guys are selling. If you hear someone sold 3 crates, that's 900 Kenyan shillings. Yeah. It's a lot of money for youth. Now, the problem is one. I learned this mistake that I did back then. I enjoyed the money so much that I woke up one day and I had eaten all my initial capital.
Okay. And I feel like that's also a conversation that we need to get to. Yeah. The financial discipline that comes with entrepreneurship and self-employment. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's go back to Yvonne before we proceed with that conversation. I want to also understand what your journey has been. Tell us about your company, because it has something to do with technology, cryptocurrency. Tell us about that, how long you've done it, and how you got to deciding that this is what you want to start.
Well, my educational background is in financial economics. And right after my degree, my undergrad, I did a software because I noticed that there were young kids. When I was in uni, I was in Strathmore, and they used to have student boot camps where they'd have kids coming into school to learn how to code. So I was curious, how exactly am I going to be like an inspiration, not a successful person in this ecosystem if there are kids who are learning to code and I don't know how to code. So right after my finance ecosystem, my finance degree, I went to Moringa School to learn how to code. And when you merge finance and tech, you find blockchain. It's like basically finance on steroids. So then after that, I started interacting with the people in the blockchain ecosystem. I started attending their meetups. And then I started trading. Trading, that's Bitcoin trading. That's when you buy Bitcoin at a cheap price, sell at a higher price. There are a lot of traders. Kenya is known to be the biggest peer-to-peer trading country, Bitcoin peer-to-peer trading country in the world. So what that entails is just buying Bitcoin, selling. That's called arbitrage. It's basically what you did with eggs. You buy at a cheap price, sell at an expensive price. We buy here in Kenya, sell in Nigeria, buy in Kenya, sell in Zimbabwe. All this is done online. So I started trading, and then after that I started offering services to people. Being a woman in a tech, male-dominated industry, it's somehow, being a minority, it has a minority advantage. People started looking for community managers. In blockchain, there are crazy jobs like you can be paid to be a Telegram moderator, like a texter. You can be paid to be a WhatsApp admin. So you start, other than trading, I started moderating Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups. Then I started marketing like when you, as I mentioned, growing. Yes. After that, I went into marketing. Then after doing that for a number of years, sustaining myself for a couple of years, there was a huge gap in the industry. There was a huge gap in women. There were no women. Like literally, I was 1 out of 3 women in Kenya, in a population of about 100,000 people who are already interacting with cryptocurrencies in Kenya, and you could literally count the women in the ecosystem, in the Kenyan ecosystem. So first startup that I formed was called the Kenya Blockchain Ladies DAO, which was an initiative that aimed to increase women involvement in blockchain. And that was my first, what we do, I'd gather the women and gather the women who I've met first and gather women who are interested, because we'd meet women who would be like, Yvonne, teach me how to trade, teach me how to be a Telegram moderator. And it's really simple stuff. So we started mentoring each other. So far, we're a community of about 170 women. And all of us are immense, like they're immersed into the cryptocurrency space.
Could you give us the years, maybe?
Okay.
When you started, how long it took you to get to this 100 women, so that we can understand how long it takes for you to grow and even diversify, because that's basically what you've done in your field.
Yeah. So I graduated in 2018, did my boot camp in 2018 because it's a 6-month boot camp. I worked for about 3 years and then formed the Kenya Blockchain Ladies DAO. And then within that period of forming the Kenya Blockchain Ladies DAO, actually early this year, I got approached because of my history, my work history, my marketing history. I got approached by a firm telling me they like my work and they want to fund me to help them do what I do, but representing them. So it's basically getting an investor who likes what you're doing, being loud about it on social media, and then naming your brand. So that's how I got into it. And basically what we do at the ICP Kushite is that we educate developers, we educate women on how to build on blockchain, how to build their brands, how to trade, how to code, how to develop, how to be builders in the blockchain.
So it's basically empowering women in the same space, in fintech, that you're in, empowering them to be their own bosses and how to run their own accounts and do all that stuff.
Yeah, that's Kenya Blockchain. I have 2 ventures, Kenya Blockchain Ladies DAO, Kushite, we focus on developers. So Kenya Blockchain Ladies DAO, that's what we focus on. And so far it took about 2 years to gather all those women. They're not many, but they have a lot of impact.
It's a substantial number. Yeah. Patrick, wouldn't you agree? 100 is a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, and all of them have gotten jobs, all of them have gotten clients, all of them have learned the basics of blockchain, cryptocurrency. All of them have... Yeah, it's really amazing. And that's just like, sometimes you don't have to do things for money. That one was purely pro bono. I just did it because there was a gap. but it built my brand to such a strong level that someone would be like, I want to invest in you and build for me. So that's...
And this basically is a span of 4 or 5 years. If we give or take the period where you were learning and growing your skills. So this is about 4 years, even including the employment, where you employed in a traditional media. So people usually tend to believe it takes years and years to build up companies and to get to a point where you're recognized for your work. But based on what you've said, it does not take that long. You just have to be good and passionate at what you do. Okay, so now I also want to discuss the resources that have really helped both of you in your fields, because I'm aware based on that you utilize a lot of digital platforms, and Patrick, you also do the same.
Yeah.
So have these resources from the very get-go when you were starting biashara ya mayai, were these resources there to help you understand what to do, how to go about it, or have you been learning along the way?
Honestly, let me give you my last 10 years. I'm just an average man. I was just an average village boy who never went to college, who never went to university, just after high school. And my dad, I'm very honest with this. I can't blame my dad for that because the business, we ran out of business. It was a family business, we ran out of business. And I had no choice because my dad is now grounded. I have to find a way to come to Nairobi. So that's about 10 years ago. Then I was cushioned by my cousins, and I love those cousins because I'm breathing in Nairobi because of them. So I'm just a normal person, general average man, actually a boy. So my first business at that time, it was eggs, and my cousin enrolled me to that. It has a lot of money, I'm telling you, there's some money.
And I feel like that's something people should take.
There's a lot of money.
People dismiss some of these jobs.
My sister, there's a lot of money in egg business. I was selling to companies. My cousin gave me, you're going to sell, I was in Mombasa Road, Cabana, so he told me, my brother, I'm going to give you 3 companies. I'll take the other rest, you take 3. So those 3 will supply eggs 9 and Sasaba. Now, I would sell at least 7 crates per day. 7 times 300 at the time, it was 2,100 Kenyan shillings daily. So I was young, and I thought that I would say I blame myself because I was young. But today, if you are a youth watching us, the best person, if you want to be good at everything, learn from other people's mistakes. Don't wait for you to make the mistake. Learn from us. So I would tell you today the mistake I did 10 years ago. So if you are in business, don't do this. Never, ever. In time or forever. This is what I did. Being young, and I lacked someone to tell me what to do with my money, and I lacked financial advice, and I lacked that exposure in the society, whereby if you get money quick, be careful. You can end things fast. You can get messed by society. So my cousin never told me how to manage my money, but he told me how to get it.
Yeah, and that's the gap also. The financial literacy is missing and lacking in our education system.
Very big gap that we have to tell our youth that they should avoid at all cost. If you run a business that is working, please avoid this. Never ever touch your initial capital. It doesn't matter who is dying or who is at hospital. Never ever. Because that person in hospital can accumulate bills for 7 days. But if you give that initial capital, tomorrow you are not going to work. You can say, go to hospital, get admitted, I will pay after 7 days. There's nothing wrong with that. You will sustain the business, and as well, you will make sure you fit the gap whereby you can sort that thing over. So I literally ate my initial capital. And that was the end of my business.
That was the very first business.
I ate all of it, and tomorrow I'm like, what happened? I have no money. Hold on. So that's how my business ended. After a few weeks, after 3 weeks, I have no money. I have eaten all the money. I have gone to the club. Drugs. You stay away from drugs. Alcohol, everything that you eat can make you feel not the best of you. Let it go. I did that, and you are there, no business.
You weren't alone. And that's something I think we want to get into, and I want to dive deeper into it.
Yeah.
The financial aspect of business.
Yeah.
Because that's so crucial. And like we know, we don't have any financial education. So unafika huku nje ndo unafigure out, I'm supposed to invest, I'm supposed to do this. So I want us to get into that later in the show. But basically it was your family members who recommended some things, and then you learned along the way how to improve and become a better businessman.
So I failed so many times. I cannot tell you how many times I failed. I have failed so many times. So what keeps me keeps me working every day is when I fail, I learn. So I learned that I can never repeat that mistake. So that was my first business. The second business was in 2010. I started a cyber cafe with just, the eggs business was about 1,000 bob. I started with 1,000, it exponentially grew a very big business. So 2018 I started having a cyber cafe. I took a loan, I was working. You see, the only way to get money as a youth is to work for someone. Save money, and it doesn't matter how much money you have. What you need is an idea. Don't look for money first, look for idea first. If you have an idea, then you work on the idea. How can you fund the idea? If you can get a loan or someone give you some money, or brother or sister, accumulate those 5K, 20K. It can be, if I started my business at 1,000 and I was making 2,000 per day, at least when it is worst, 1,000 per day. That's enough as a youth to think far. So 2018, I took a loan of 28,000 only. Hey, I bought my first computer. Then I started a movie shop. And I identified a very good location. So I learned this in school about business location, those basic needs. I did business in high school, so I applied that, and my father has been coaching me in business all the time. My father has been in business for the last 30 years. So I would go to my father and get advice, how can I do business after 2018? That is after I failed. Now, I learned from his mistakes. The business 2018, though it failed again, it failed terribly because I found another mistake my father never told me. The one that you employ at your business can make you fail miserably. Underline that. It's not overstatement. Actually, it is.
Because I've had so many cases where people complain that they're running a business, it's not profitable, or someone is stealing some funds or mismanaging even the entire entrepreneurship, the business and everything that you've invested in. Okay, so that's, you've faced two challenges so far. I want us to hold that thought first, and then we can expound on some of the other lessons that you've learned along the way. Now, Yvonne, from his story, he had some guidance. He had some idea of what to do, what not to do. Did you have the same situation, or what hindrances did you face before you started your first business?
Well, I think for me, in tech we deal with a lot of international people. Like everything before Corona, we were even doing work online. So I think one of our biggest hindrances as Kenya is that sometimes you tend to think in a bubble. Like, you know, when you're working with people from in tech, first I'd say like one of the biggest, he gave advice to youth, so I was thinking, I'd say one of the biggest things that youth should take advantage of is always take advantage of new technologies. For example, when Bitcoin came into the market, not many people knew about it, but those who took it on the earlier days, right now they're retired. They're retired at 28, so and they're not retired like 600K, they're like proper retired in millionaires
at this point because of the value that changed over the years.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest lessons for personal, because I heard about Bitcoin in high school, but I didn't care. But now, when we join into the ecosystem, one of the biggest lessons is please always, when you hear of a new technology, whether it's AI, whether it's what, always take advantage as soon as you hear of it. For example, those who leverage social media earlier on, I remember when Instagram came into the picture, people were just taking selfies. No one knew that you could make this your business. No one knew that people could earn money from it. Like the president recently said that Njugush makes more money than him because he leveraged from technology. So I think one of the biggest lessons, advice I'd give to the youth is always take advantage of new technologies. It's an opportunity, it's wild. So as on the journey of becoming a founder, one of the biggest challenges is that, well, as a woman, well, first of all, as I mentioned, working in an international ecosystem, sometimes as Africans, we don't know how these people, international players, make money. Before you get to the point where you're understanding, it takes a lot of strain in your brain. So I think always keeping an open mind. Personally, I've also failed a number of times, and it's because I go to someone, I'm pitching an idea, and you don't really know what you're selling. You think you're selling a brilliant idea, but it doesn't really sell to international investors. So I think always having listening, paying attention, doing your research, reading, that's very important. That's something I've learned over the years. And always, someone once said, stay hungry, stay foolish. Today, I still believe that, I don't know, in the internet space, there's so much information you're consuming, but it's not enough. We're a third world country for a reason. There's so many things that we need to learn for us to get to a certain level. Another thing, as a woman in tech, tech in itself is something. Someone told me that technica kazi ya mjengo is not something that, it's like physics. Men love physics, but women, we struggle with it. So, so tech, I wouldn't pretend that it's easy to learn tech. It's something I struggle with. So being in a space where there's so many developers, and I'm not as good at development, I needed to find my niche within this niche. Yes, I've learned how to code, but I failed horribly. I couldn't write a website. Like it was.
So you needed to learn, and you see also technology is advancing every single day.
Exactly,
it's changing. You have to be updated.
Yeah.
So I want us to read some of the comments that you've sent in before we proceed with this conversation. We were trying to understand what are some of the hindrances that you can face before you start your journey, and some of the challenges that you've personally faced. So we'll expound on that more as we come back. But let me go to Facebook. We have BC Jason, who said, starting is always an issue. Thank you so much for your comment. And that is true. For most people, starting is the issue. We have George Omulo, who says capital. That is where the problem is, capital. Thank you, George, for your comment. And that's also another issue, as we can see from our next comment. Jose Boyo says that starting capital is a big issue. So we have Kijana wa Esther, who says DCI something. Thank you, Kijana wa Esther, sorry. Brayo Ghetto Boy says lack of capital. So clearly we can tell that there's something that's very dominant in the minds of people. So I want us to take a very short break, and then we will come back. We want to understand the financial aspect and the challenges and even the advantages of being self-employed. So stay tuned to Y254 TV. This is the Power Talk Show.
Y254. Imagine.
Thank you so much for sticking to Y254 TV. My name is Cheryl Blessing, and this is the Power Talk Show. Now, before we went on a break, we were trying to understand what is the value of self-employment? How can you get into it? How can you finance the idea that you have to start a business that will be successful long-term? So I want us to understand especially the capital aspect, because most people have commented, wameanza na hapo, kuanzia ndio shida. The starting capital, the implementation of your idea. So Patrick,
yes,
umetuambia ulianza na 28,000. Kwanza you started with 1,000, then 28 for the other. Tell us, how did you get this capital, and how can someone get the capital to fund their idea?
Wow. Thank you again, and let me just go and understand that money is scarce at youthful. When you are having nothing, money is scarce. But when you have some money, money is abundant. So let me tell you how we did it. at first, there are many ways to get money. Money is easy to get. Money is everywhere. What you need is not the money itself. You need people with money. Now, my first business was funded by my cousin with just 1,000 Kenya shillings. So a family can help you start the first business. That's one source of money. You grow that money, multiply that money over time, then you'll come to reinvest that money in a bigger business. Okay, that's one way to get money. The second way that I did in 2018 is I was working for a company and I was in a circle. So I'd be contributing 1,000 Kenya shillings for a span of 4 to 5 years. So I took a loan of, just a little loan of 28,000 just to test waters with just 1 feet. I don't want to try with 2. So with my 20,000, I bought just 1 computer. And the thing was, before you even think about the money, have an idea. Don't look for money, then you get looking for the idea. You get lost. The money will spoil you. Look for an idea first that you can afford and drive to get more money and with the least amount of initial capital. So what did I do? I had an idea to start a movie shop. And what I needed just a computer and just nothing else, just computer. Copying, pasting, copying, pasting. Oh, you sell a digital thing, it's very profitable, sell it digital. Okay, sometimes it's, you need to be legally, you have to get few legal documents, but the government of Kenya is cool with that. Counties are good, you can pay that. It's not, KFCB is not so much money. You just pay, and you are allowed to resell things. You see, and selling digital things is the most profitable business I've ever seen. Because out of just 1 computer and renting a house and having a good business location, I managed to make about, every day I was making about 1,600. At least I could go as 500 bob. But let me tell you one thing, one morning that I woke up and I spent all the day in the business up to the evening, and I was like, God, why me? Imagine opening a business with all the money you have, and no one is asking, what are you even selling?
You're just there alone.
You get used to selling about 1,000 bob or 600, but just one day you wake up, Yvonne and Cheryl, even no one says, hi, how are you doing? It's disappointing. So the second way I told you is get it funded by the loan. Now there's another third way. Youth focus. This is for youth. And surprisingly, most of the youth, I don't know if you guys will be hearing this for the first time, but maybe you ignored when you heard it. It's government funded. The government of Kenya has a way you can get funding through the office of the youth. You go in your county level and you'll find, there has always been an office whereby you can get funded. So this is what I did. I and my friend, we organized ourselves to form a group whereby we are almost 10 people. Remember, government does not understand that, and I like does not fund single people. If you come and go to a government and you want to be funded when you are alone, you get nothing.
So you need a group.
You need
and I
a
hope
group.
the audience, I hope ukiwa nyumbani, you're taking note of this note because it's a very important point.
Yeah.
Watu wengi wanahangaika na hawajui kuna this resources
Yes.
available for them.
Yeah.
So you need to have like a company of people.
Yeah, and this is what has made me where I am now. This is just part of many things I'm about to say. So you go and organize about 10 people, form a group, register the group. It's about 1,000 bob to form a group. Register is about 1,000 to 1,500, between 1,000 and 2,000. The last time I checked, it was about 1,000 to 2,000. Form a group, then register the group. Then with that registration of a group, start having meetings and write minutes in a book. Now with that, choose a chair and someone who is going to write the minutes and so. Have meetings that are recorded, then those meetings preserved by someone who is going to keep the bookkeeping,
the secretary.
Then with that, take about 1 or 2 to 3 months doing the same thing and contributing like 100 bob. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. So what you are doing is you are making yourself credibility. The government doesn't support uncredible people. Now,
Because you need to have the proof.
Yes, that
we have been meeting.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate group
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah, let the minutes be signed by every member that's around, okay?
Yeah.
Now with that, take that paper of the group meetings and the paperwork, take to the bank. Register the group, have a group account. If you open that group account, what happens is you open a group account with whereby if there's no Yvonne, if there's no sharing, we cannot withdraw any money. So now you are just one step ahead before you get the money. It's very easy.
And these are just some of the steps that you need before you go to the government and
Yeah.
tell them that we have a circle of people
Yeah.
and we want funding.
Yeah.
And I hope you've taken note of that back home, because he has given 3 important ways of making money.
Yeah.
Through your family, through loans, and through the government.
Yeah.
So now, Yvonne, you mentioned you had an investor at the beginning of the year. So tell us about your own personal journey. What were some of the challenges that you faced, especially financially, with funding your idea and even just conceptualizing your idea? Unajua tunaongelea ideas na kuna watu they don't have anything in mind of where will I start, what will I do? So how do you identify what I am good at, what I can actually make into a business, and identifying investors to even prove yourself credible?
Well, I'd start by saying you don't really have to have a brilliant idea. Like, not everyone is meant to be. There are people who are very creative. There are creatives who just wake up with a new idea every day. But not everyone is like that. There are people who have had saying, I don't have a talent, like they're in distress because they don't have it. It happens. So
True.
I think it's okay to start with employment, gather your connections, gather your skills, and then eventually it will just come naturally, because at a certain age, as I mentioned, you will grow, you'll need to grow, and you'll need to create a side income, you'll need to make investments. It always comes, like for me, as we approach our 30s, it comes to your mind and you're like, okay, what side hustles can you do? And when he was speaking, I wanted to give a point on that. For the youth today, I want to encourage them, don't limit yourself to Kenya. We are living in a global village. We're living in an age where you can go online, ask a random person, you can ask Elon Musk what you want to ask him and he'll fund you $1 million. Don't think we are living in a time where you have access to information, global information. You have access to global communication channels. You can reach out to anyone on Facebook, anyone on Twitter, anyone on LinkedIn. Anyone on WhatsApp. You can literally call anyone in the world on WhatsApp. Last week I was in a fashion shop, East Africa Textile and Leather Week, and the conversation was how can tailors, expand. The most successful fashion person in Kenya is the founder of Vivo, and what does she do different? Technology. Everyone should learn how to code. I cannot emphasize this enough, because when you implement technology, if you have a simple idea, having eggs, put a technology aspect in it. You open yourself to the world. You get investors from all over the world. Even with blockchain, with Bitcoin, you take the exact same amount of time to send Bitcoin to you here and to someone in the US. Don't think in the Kenya bubble. Go online, study, read. That's how you get international investors. Yeah, I've forgotten what the question was.
No, but you've answered our question.
Yeah.
I am also a firm believer in the fact that if you have a smartphone, you have everything
Exactly.
you need. Because you have access to information, you have access to people, and you have access to platforms that can give you the opportunity to do different things. Patrick, I have an understanding that you also monetize your social media platforms. You're a spiritual guide. And TikTok is big. TikTok and YouTube, I'm aware that you do the two. So I want us to understand what, right now, so many people are venturing into these fields. What are some of the challenges you have faced? As ulisha to mentionia kukula pesa, you also mentioned the employees that you have. And I've had cases where people complain about the employees.
Yeah.
What other challenges have you faced in your journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, actually, thank you again. And this is the sweetest part of my life now. I want to let you understand there are so many challenges. And remember, in every challenge, a challenge comes to the one who is able to solve it. God cannot give you a challenge that he knows, well, Cheryl, you cannot make it this one. Every challenge, take it and be happy because it builds you. So ever since 2018, my business failed because I chose the wrong employee. And I sent my laptop for repair in my own shop. And I was like, okay, you know, every day we do bookkeeping, how much you sold, what you sold. So I gave my friend a laptop. And I want that laptop Windows. So we were charging at the moment about 1,000 bob. The laptop was good and fine, and it was brought back. And surprisingly, when I went to check my business, I found that, big boys never recorded these.
So your pesa ilieka kwa mfuko.
Your pesa imepotea. So I think we should install CCTV because of some rogue employees, okay? And again, even let's get out of the conventional way of working. Now, I stopped that, and my business ran out of cash and everything, and I locked in, took the computers. The good thing, when you are buying things that don't expire like computers, you are very happy. You take them after 5 years, you use them again. I don't like investing in food things that expire. I don't like it. I feel, what if things get turned? What if the tables turn? What
so you would recommend someone to sell a service as opposed to selling a product?
I would recommend sell a service and thank me later. Because if you are selling a service or tangible things or electronics, it will never expire. Even if you run out of business today, I'll put them in my house, I'll come back strong again, okay? So in 2018 also, that's when I came to what she has been said about the digital part now. That's when I realized, so being a youth, I have so many ideas, but I have no money. So how can I make money out of my ideas? I started going online, 2018. And that is when I founded my brand and my company, which is called React Lord. I started doing YouTube in 2018. I started doing blogs 2018. I started going digital, and that is where the game starts. I told you, in your whole life as a mankind, you only need one idea. It will kick out isonge, just one. You don't need one, not many, just one.
Just one.
One.
And the way we've been discussing, it is okay for you to try and fail.
Yeah.
As a youth, especially the way you mentioned, 18 to 25, even 18 to 29.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Fail is
because
good.
you're young.
Yeah.
You don't have major responsibilities, and you have the free will of deciding what I want to do right now, and then I can change it next week. Yvonne, what are some of the things that you had to consider while you were setting up your business? Because I understand there's so many things like licensing, getting a legal team, aside from just the finances alone. What are some of the things that you had to consider while you were setting up your first company?
Well, one of the things he talked about employees, and I think that's a strong point. I think one of the leading causes of failing SMEs is like having bad employees, having a team that may not be as proficient. One thing that I had to learn the hard way was never employ your friends.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't never employ your friends. In as much as you love them, you guys talk, you think you work together, you'd rather even employ your enemies because they'll have more to prove than your friends. Another challenge I'd feel is admitting like your weaknesses. Like I'm good at PR. It's good to hire. It's good to get people who are better than you. Like in terms of coding, as I mentioned, I'm not that good, but I know someone who's good. Work with them, and not your friend, but work with them. Also, well, consistency. It's easy to give up. It's easy to meet challenges on the way, but try and be consistent with your work. Yeah, I'd say those are the biggest challenges, because even like sometimes you get overwhelmed. Being self-employed or working in not in 9 to 5 is not that you work less. It actually means you might be working 26/7, like more than everyone else. You work around the clock. It's so exhausting. It gets really challenging, especially in the digital space where your home is your workspace. You know, at least in a 9 to 5, the minute you close your work desk, go home, that's the end of your day. In the digital space, you open your laptop, you wake up at 4, you open your laptop, so it can really encroach in your personal life. So getting that balance between work and work-life balance becomes even harder. So yeah, that's what I'd add.
Okay, and I like that. You've also brought in, with your final point, finding that balance. Because I understand that most people who are self-employed, round the clock they're working, 24/7, always on call, always doing something in regards to the business. So you have to find the balance, and you have to control and sort of schedule your time appropriately.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. So I like that. And now I want to talk about the risk, because self-employment is taking a risk. How do you get to ulikuwa employed na unaamua now today I'm resigning, I'm going home and I'm just focusing on my business? Patrick.
That is the hardest thing to ever do in your life. Resign. Being employed is like a drug. You are used to this drug of getting about 50K a month, and you are budgeting that limit caps. But when it comes to self-employed, there's no limit. The limits, you break them into pieces. It becomes to opportunities. But every opportunity comes with consequences.
Now tell us those consequences. Tell us hizo risk. Mtu akae akijua nyumbani.
Yeah, actually I resigned. I'm so happy to announce this to people. To take me as example. Did you know that I resigned earlier last year on March? Yeah. And having resigned, I was working very hard. I have a shift at night. I have a shift in the day. And I'm trying to make ends meet. And one thing I want to tell you, this could be out of the topic, but please avoid this. If you are aged between 18 and 29, avoid ladies, please. Kindly.
So is that for the men?
For the men. For the youth. I'm talking about youth.
Even ladies should avoid ladies.
Even ladies should avoid men who doesn't have money. Point blank.
I'm pretty sure the women are agreeing with you.
Point blank. That's a fact. And men, avoid relationships between 18 and 29.
Yeah, my director is also agreeing with the men aspect.
Because women will shift you out of focus. Let's say you are throwing a arrow and all of a sudden a person crosses. Oh, I lost focus. The bird is gone. The bird is the money. The person drawing the line who is coming between you and the bird is a woman. She will make you lose focus if you are not careful. Women are best manipulators. They can even
Yvonne
put
is
you.
like side eye.
Women can observe. Youth, I love you very much. You know, I am very genuine. And surprisingly, at my age, I'm divorced.
And that's, now I want to, I'm sorry we're running out of time, but that's a very good example as well.
Yeah.
It's, you see when you have these meaningless relationships, you can get so invested in that it even derails you from your business. And that's something that I hope someone at home is taking note of, because for the men, I usually advise men to make money, then you can find someone. Because before you make money as a man in the society today, it's going to be very hard for you. And the world respects people who are powerful and people who have money and they're influential. Yvonne, now, when you umesema avoid employing friends, did you have an instance where you employed someone who's close, like friends, family, and they affected your business to the point where you realized, no, I need to fire this person?
Yeah, I've had a number of instances, and it's mostly, I think even for women, sometimes we need to avoid women. Because, you know, especially as women, we need to, it's difficult. For me, I'm personally a very aggressive woman, so you need to find your crowd. You need to find people who think like you, are aggressive as you. Yeah, sorry, I know we're running out of time and I wanted to add a point to the previous question on finance.
No, it's okay. Yeah, we can.
So at the ICP Kushite Hub, what we do is that we finance developers, and if you're building on blockchain, just to throw myself in there, we have a pool of investors who are willing to fund up to $25,000. If you're building on blockchain, first learn how to code. Then please follow us on ICP Kushite on Twitter, and then we have a course on learning how to build on blockchain, and we have an investor pool, and we support you. Even have a developer network. If you have an idea that can be built on the blockchain, come to us. We're willing to support you and grow your business. Yeah.
And I hope you've taken note of that. Please, that's a very good opportunity.
Yeah.
And especially for the women in tech. I understand that right now we are growing. I like even the space in my field when I see more women in the technical aspect. So it's changing, and opportunities like that will give people an added advantage.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up the conversation, Patrick, I want to get from you the spiritual aspect. We have to integrate spiritual aspects in a business kidogo, because that's what you do on TikTok. So just briefly for about a minute, explain the relation between the two.
You have to understand this, my brothers and sisters. Everything is spiritual, and you become what you think. I'm a spiritual teacher, and you check my social media, react a lot. You'll understand in TikTok, I have views, millions of views weekly, and even in YouTube, I have thousands and thousands of views. You can follow up and you learn. Everything that you own right now, it was first a thought. Even that phone, 50 years ago, it was a lie. So whatever you are doing right now, and people think, you will fail. Don't worry. Even if you would introduce this phone 50 years ago, they will say, it's a lie. We don't know what that. So whatever you are starting right now, start. People will say, let them talk. That's how they are behaved. They behave that way. They will sleep at night. Okay? And I want to tell you, there's a way that we can fund you as. Because right now, I am partnered with a company that sources products from China. We have a company that I am working with, and it's a good company because it will source products for you. It will come to Kenya, and in your doorstep, you don't have to go to China, all that fear, which products is legit. No. It's called Elsa International. So Elsa is a company which is 5-star rated in Kenya. But this one is for the one youths that don't know anything. And even the one who are incorporating business, if you find Elsa, you will understand how this works. This is how they do the business. We have been doing it for years, and this is how they have helped me accomplish my mission. So I have a shop, and I want this product, a TV, 65-inch. It's in China. I'm going to sell it as 50,000, but in China I'll get it for about 30. Let's say, for example, that K. And Elsa is going to transport it from China, go shop for me, clear the customs, and bring to my doorstep for me to sell. So if you can't go to China, then that's where you need to company to go to shop for you. And that's a digital era we are living in. Now, if you want to understand more about, go and search Elsa International, or go DM me Reactor. I'll give you the contacts. They will shop for you.
Do search
it's
for
important.
Elsa International, because even for small businesses.
Yeah, every business. You see, now my businesses, I have about 3 or 4 businesses, and the good thing with Elsa is when you shop about 3 or 4 times, you can now do and you pay after delivery. It's very easy. You don't have to go anywhere. You just sit down and call Elsa. I need 10 TVs, and this I'll pay after delivery. That's about 3 or 4 purchases. Then you'll be certified. Okay? It's very easy to do business. Youths, wake up, get that money, go check Elsa, or just go search Reactor. I will DM you, I give you their numbers, go and work with them. They are funded.
See, that's just seeking information.
Yeah.
Because there are companies that do that, and they have been doing that.
Yeah.
It's just doing your own research and figuring out how can I access these people, get my products, and resell them.
Yeah. And I recommend them because they are credible. I have done with them business not twice, not once, so many times. And the business running, I don't have to worry about Easter, because if I make an order about, let's say, 250, and I want to sell this product in my shops, then if I can pay even 75%, and after delivery I'll pay the 15 or 25. So it's very easy, but the problem with the youth is they don't know where to invest their money. If you have 100K, invest in Elsa, just find out a way you get a supply, someone who's going to bring you products without problem.
Thank you, Patrick. And that's a very, very important aspect, because there are companies like this, and there needs to be awareness of that.
Yeah.
So, Yvonne, Tell us briefly, because most people are skeptical about Bitcoin and blockchain and cryptocurrency. Tell us the benefits of it and what are some of the things that you need to be aware as you get into that. So you can tell us in maybe
A minute.
Yes, about a minute, please.
Well, blockchain is, well, in Kenya we're known for Bitcoin trading. We're actually globally known. We are moving numbers, and it's just that it's done so
Chini ya maji.
chini ya maji. So what you need to know, first of all, it's a career like any other. It's not a get-rich scheme. Like, most people have fallen for scams because they're looking to make a lot of money. So don't be greedy. It's something that requires, before you invest any money, invest your time, invest your brain, learn about it, study it. Follow me. I give a lot of information at Kagondo_Yvonne. I give a lot of credible information on blockchain technology.
No, you can actually tell us exactly where to find you as we wrap up, exactly where to find you, the platforms and the name of the company, so that someone who's back at home can look for you.
Follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active, Kagondo_Yvonne. I share weekly updates on what's happening in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. If you're a developer, if you're a builder, follow us at Kushite ICP Hub. We are looking to support developers. We need to build more in Kenya. We are consuming a lot of, like, if you look at your phone, how many products have you built? How many products apps are you using from Kenya? Like, we're supporting Kenyan builders. So at Kushite, search us at ICP Kushites. That's Kushite, ICP.Hub, East Africa, ICP Kushites. So that's still on Twitter, LinkedIn, Yvonne Kagondo, and Kushite ICP Hub. And let's build together. I'm all about youth empowerment, women empowerment. Let's get in tech, leverage from emerging technologies. And
Thank you. Because that's very important. Find credible sources. That's one thing we're getting. Find credible sources, follow them, get information and learn.
Yeah.
Patrick, tell us briefly where to find you on all these different platforms, just very briefly.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Actually,
wapi ndio watu get all this information.
All right. So first thing first, I want to check you the website for the company that sourced for these people that I've been working with, ILSA International. Let me check the URL well, but it's ILSA, ILSAINTL.com, ILSA Group. Now, with that, I can give you even the contact if you want. Let me check.
Tell us yours.
Mine. Okay, all right. All right. For me, I am Patrick, and my social media name is Reactlord, RESCTLORD. Search in Google. Whatever you see platform with a background of blue, that's the boy. Okay. Go there. I teach spirituality sessions. I tell people spiritual businesses, and you can attract customers. Because if you say today I'm going to sell, then you are going to sell. But if you say I want, you just affirm to yourself to be a loser. So never say I am followed by negative affirmations. Okay? Say I am strong. I am going to sell. I am going to succeed. Because they never told you that I am is affirmative. You are going to follow with affirmation of positivity.
Thank you so much. And I believe we've gotten so much from that. Yeah. Your mentality, your mindset, and your drive is what will elevate you. So we are just about to wrap up. And thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254. A repeat of this show will air tomorrow. And you can also find us on YouTube at Y254. Thank you so much. My name is Cheryl Blessing, and this is the Power Talk Show.